Welcome to season 3 of rebuilding Sampdoria. And after last season, where we had a debut year, well, our first year back in Serie A, we finished top half, missed out on a European place by 2 points. The objective this season has got to be to get into Europe, ready for season 4. Welcome back to the series, folks, and let's start with transfers because that's what you really want to see. And we'll start at the back end of last season. We had Manchester City came in for a bid for Wisdom Amy, who we bought last season for £8.5 million from Bologna. He did have a £9.5 million release clause in his contract. Man City met that, so obviously we had no choice but to accept it. They did then offer him back to us on a loan for the season. So we've got £9.5 million for him, which is a profit of £1 million, and we've got him back on loan for the season. We don't have to pay any of his wages, so we're saving £10,000 a week on his wages as well. So it's disappointing that he left after just the season, but at least we have got him back for this season as a loanee that will keep our back five if you include the goalkeeper, with consistency, and we'll get to that when I show you the team. Then we move into the current season, and we'll start with the outgoings first because there's been a few outgoings. Reda Cadra, Raul San Sebastian met his release clause of £6 million, so therefore we had no choice but to sell him. So we accepted the offer because it met the release clause. He left for £6 million. £4.6 million then came in for Ronaldo Vieira. He was starting to get unhappy with me. He wanted a new contract. He'd only signed a new contract the year before, so I weren't prepared to give him another contract. He was getting the ump, so I offered him out. Udinese came in for £4.6 million, and he's left. Manolo Gabbiadini, those of you that have been watching the series from the start will know that me and him have had a bit of a falling out on several occasions. He's such a moaner, it's unbelievable. In his our first season here, 12 goals in 25 games with 3 assists, 7.10. I kind of tolerated his moaning because he was contributing with goals. And then last season, 1 goal from 33 appearances, 6.70, just wasn't anywhere near the player that he was previously. He was getting on a little bit, so I suppose we can forgive him for that. But we've got £1.5 million for him from Udinese as well. And then we've had other players like Matteo Ricci has gone out on loan to Cosenza for a minimal loan fee, but they are covering most of his wages, I think about 60% of his wages. And he will be leaving on a free transfer at the end of the season as well. Same with Matteo Vitali. He was going to be expiring at the end of this season, but we've got £300,000, potentially rising to £350,000 for him as well. All told, £12.5 million coming in from players that we've let go, and £10 million has been spent. The majority of them has been free transfers. Some of these you will know about, from Riccio down to Mirez. You will already know about potentially from the end of last season, part 3 of last season's episode. But Alessandro Riccio, 23 years old, Italian, no caps at international level. He's a decent backup option with potential to get better as well. He could well become first choice in a year or two's time. Came in on a free transfer. Previously played for Juventus throughout his career, really. It's a bit strange I've got Juventus and Zebra under 23s, but whatever. Yeah, so he's come in and he adds backup to our defence. If you remember when we first took over Sampdoria, we basically had no defence other than a couple of fullbacks, and the quest really has been to improve our defence. And last season we had one of the best defences in Serie A, so it was a case of wanting to keep the defence we have, but also just add depth to it as well, so that when someone's missing, we've got someone to fall back on. Then we brought in Luka Topalovic from Domazale. Again, another free transfer. He looks really decent. He's going to be a box-to-box midfielder for us, and he's got 16 for long shots. So at the end of the season, we do the end of season review, I'm expecting to see him as our goal of the season candidate, 25 yards out, screaming to the top right-hand corner, that kind of thing. 3.5 star current ability, 5-star potential. He's only 19 years old, Slovenian. Already got a value of upwards to £11.5 million. Even if he doesn't quite make it with us, he does have potential to actually have really good resale value to him as well. Luis Fernanda from Agua Santa on a free transfer. A free transfer Brazilian. I'm not going to say wonder kid because he's not, but look at all the positions he can play, and he likes to play out on the left. He can play in the middle if we was to ever play a 4-2-3-1. We're going to be playing him as a Mazzala in the centre of midfield. So when we are at full strength, we will have Fernando and Topalovic, 19 and 20-year-old, as our two central midfielders. I'm really excited by that. Ramon Mirez came in on a free transfer. Now, when I bought him last season, or made the deal for him last season to come in the summer, he was intended to be our number one striker because we had real issues with our attack last season that we just weren't scoring goals. And this guy here, I mean, he's got 18 for heading, 13 for jumping reach, 20 work rate, 16 off the ball, 18 determination, 18 bravery, 16 aggression. He is insane when it comes to his mentals and his physicals. His technicals do need improving. Granted, he can head a ball, but not much else. But if he gets flying and he's got the determination and the work rate to pull it off as well, he could be an absolute beast for us. But as it turns out, we signed Pecorino to come in the end of January, beginning of February, and he turned out to be a beast. He really was phenomenal last season. So Ramon Mirez is kind of now relegated to backup option, I suppose. Then we've got Robert Navarro in on a free transfer as well. Bearing in mind, this was on the 13th of July. So a week after we'd done this, we had Reda Kadra sold. So this was kind of a good bit of business because we brought him in as a back. He can play right, left, centre. Can also play a little bit in midfield as that Mazzala if we want him to. But he's actually playing out on the right for us at the moment. Bear in mind, we had Kadra and Leris as our left and right attacking midfielders. So Robert Navarro really came in as backup for the two of those, potentially first choice ahead of Leris. Then we sold Kedra and Ronaldo Vieira. But when we sold Kedra on the 20th of the 7th, we also, because we knew we was going to be losing Kedra, we put in a bid of £9 million rising to £10.5 million to Lanús for Pedro de la Vega, 24-year-old Argentinian. He is really good. He looks the part. He's settling in at the moment. He's made 3 appearances, got 1 assist at 6.93. He's done really well in pre-season, 4 goals, 3 assists from 5 appearances. He is basically Kedra's replacement. So it's De La Vega on the left. We have Leris and Navarro that can play on the right. Navarro can also play on the left. Then on the left-hand side, we've got the young guy, Della Monchi, I think his name is, and also Luis Roberto that can play out there as well. So we've got some really good options in our attack as well as our midfield and defence and all that. And then this guy here, he was available for £950,000 from Valencia B, Cesar Taraga. He was basically brought in as a 5th choice centre-back, a 2nd, maybe 3rd choice defensive midfielder. He's just an option for us to have. That it raises the floor of the team as opposed to raising the ceiling. And I just think having him in there is a much better backup option than what we already had previously. So really happy with our transfer business, both incomings and outgoings. In terms of the actual team itself, if we have a look at the team, we have recently just finished playing a game. This is pretty much our first choice team. So we have Falcone in goal, Aguero and De Pauli left back and right back, Van der Kap and Amy in the centre of defence, Yepes, Luis Fernando, Topalovic in the midfield, De La Vega and Navarro out wide, and Pecorino as the pressing forward. Then when you look at the bench, and this is a key thing to me, is when we can then rotate players. So if we was to rotate, you'd have Ponzi would go in for De Pauli, you'd have Tazander down here would go in over there for Aguero, Giorgini and Riccio would come into the centre of defence. In the centre of midfield, you could have where's he gone? Where's my man? There he is. Tanguy Ndombele can play in here. He can also play as a box-to-box midfielder as well. Then if we look further up, you've got... Where have they gone? Where have all my players gone? Askilden plays as a Mazzala, can also play as a box-to-box midfielder as well. Tarega can fit in here. We just have so many better options. And then you've got Delamanash can play out on the left. He can play the right as well. Along with Mirez up top. There's also Montevideo that can play up top. We just seem to have a really, really good balance of backup options now, and I am so excited by this. If we go to the competition page, go to Serie A, look at the season preview, that has us finishing 14th. It was 14th when we started, it was 14th by the end of the transfer window. We obviously finished 8th last season with 2 points outside of the European places. We want to finish in the European places. If we finish in the Champions League places, I'd be delighted at that. But I'll take 5th to 7th, basically. They're kind of the positions we want to finish in. Then, if we have a look at the schedule in terms of how we've done so far this season, we've got a really tough start to the season. So I'm really chuffed that we've got 3 wins from 3. We played Hellas Verona first, a 2-1 win in that game. Tanguy Ndombele getting on the score sheet for us, giving us a 1-0 lead before they then equalised in the 51st minute. Then Pecorino with a penalty on the 63rd minute gave us a 2-1 win. If you look at the stats, we didn't have quite as many shots as them, but we did have better XG. Absolutely romped the possession stats, 70% possession, 90% passes completed to their 79. That's really poor. I would say we did deserve, it was close, but I'd say we did deserve to win it. Then we played Lazio, and to put this into comparison, Lazio have played 3, lost 3 in Serie A so far, so they have been very poor this season. At the time, I just thought we were just really, really good. A 3-0 win, Navarro, De Pauli, and then Yepes with a De La Vega assist. 3-0 up inside 40 minutes. I thought we was going to go on and get 5 or 6, but we didn't. As you can see by the stats, again, we just dominated. 65% possession, better XG than them, more shots. I only had 1 shot on target. That's how poor Lazio were. Then we played Napoli, who was 2nd in the league at the time. We were 3rd, I think it was. And again, we just shut them out. Only 1 shot on target. I'm so glad we've kept this defence from last season, because this defence is awesome. It really is. And Yepes plays a part in that as well. And with him playing his part, it means that Topalovic obviously has to get forward and backwards as the box-to-box midfielder. But it enables De La Vega, Navarro, Pecorino and Luis Fernando, who gets forward, to just get the goals for us. And it seems to be working. We're getting goals. We're keeping clean sheets, and we're keeping teams from actually having shots at our goal. All of that is just such an improvement on last season. Pecorino, Luis Fernando with his first ever goal, Tassende and Ndombele getting. Is that Ndombele's 2nd goal this season? Yeah, it's 2 goals this season. I said when we signed him last season that I believe Ndombele could be a really good player for us, despite his real life reputation and whatever else. He's got the attributes to be a very decent player for us, and at the moment he's starting to come good. He had a nightmare start for us, being basically injured the whole time he was out, the whole time he was here, but he's doing well now. In terms of the Italian Cup, we are in the 3rd round. We're playing either Bologna or Parma in the 3rd round, but that doesn't start until January, so it's basically like the FA Cup in England. Pre-season was very decent as well. We had a 1-1 draw against Ascoli, but then after that we beat a load of teams that basically you'd expect us to beat anyway. And then with the dynamics, we have team cohesion is good, club atmosphere is very good, managerial support is good as well. I think I did show you the youth intake last season. This is our current review of the current season's one, a bit too early really. Saying excellent intake, blah, 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 but this doesn't look excellent. But I'll show you that hopefully in part 2. We'll have a better update on what the youth candidates look like. And finally, I think we'll look at finances. We do have £11.5 million in the bank. We still have nearly £25 million in the transfer budget. We only have about £23,000 in the wage budget. But this makes such good reading, because if you've not been watching since season 1, we came in with a negative transfer budget, virtually nothing in the bank account. And even when we finished last season, as you see, last season at one point we were £9 million in the red, but then obviously the money for TV revenue and all this sort of stuff came in, but we are back on the decline again. So we're trying to get the balance up, and we are slowly getting there. But at the moment, it's just really good to see that finances are decent. In terms of debts and loan, we have a £54 million net debt. They did take out a mortgage loan in addition to the loan they originally had. Transfer debt, 5.7 million. So that's very, very low for what you see some people can build up on Football Manager. And just in general, we are looking really, really good. And I am so happy with the way we started the season as well. The question remains, when we look at it now, we're top of the league. I don't expect us to stay there, don't get me wrong. But we're top of the league, 3 wins from 3 games. Can we finish in the top 7? That's my aim for this season. And if you look at our schedule, we've got Juventus away, Inter at home, Parma, then we've got Fiorentina, then we've got a couple of more easier games. AC Milan thrown in there, then we've got a couple more easier ones with Catanzaro and Bologna, Roma thrown in there as well. If we look at how we finished the season, our final 5, Roma, Genoa, Atalanta, Salernitana and Empoli. I'm pretty sure we have Salernitana and Empoli as the last 2 games last season. Let's just have a look at that, because I'm sure we had them 2 games. Yeah, we did. The other way round is Empoli and Salernitana. But yeah, very strange how that's worked out. But yeah, so we have a not too bad running next season. So yeah, I'm hopeful if we can keep people fit and people can be on form and all that sort of stuff, I really think we have a good chance of getting that top 7 finish. Join me in part 2, where the question is, how are we doing? And we are 5th in Serie A. It's been a really good first 23 games of the season. I was going to say first half, but we played over half. But yeah, I mean, we've been in the top 4 quite a bit this season. We have a quick look at the past positions chart, and you'll see for yourself that there's been plenty of times we've been in second, first on a couple of occasions, even third, and we've just slipped down recently to 5th after a couple of poor results. Well, not poor results, but we haven't won basically. And if we look at the schedule, we'll go back to where we were the last time you was here. We'd had the start of the season with wins against Verona, Lazio, Napoli. And then the last time he was with us was before we played Juventus. So Juventus we actually lost 2-1 away from home. They've done the double over us this season, Juventus. Then we drew 1-1 with Inter. Then a 2-0 win against Parma, followed by a 3-1 win against Fiorentina and a 2-1 win against Brianza. Then what I thought was a surprising defeat to Frosinone, 1-0. They were actually doing pretty well at the time. They were about, I think, 5th in the league. I think we were 8th, something like that. And yeah, I think they even moved up to 3rd as a result of that win. Then a 1-1 draw against Sassuolo. Then a 3-0 win against Torino, followed by a 1-1 draw with AC Milan, a 2-1 win against Catanzaro, and a 2-2 draw with Bologna. Now, around this time, it was more around the game against Genoa, where we started suffering from injuries quite badly. In December and January, we really did suffer with injuries. And I'll show you the medical centre shortly, and we can have a look at that to see exactly what I mean. But yeah, injuries really started to kick in around this time. We won 4-2 against Roma, then a 1-0 win against Genoa. And I think it was in the Roma. Yeah, so Pedro de la Vega played in the game against Roma. Then I think it was in training he picked up an injury and kept him out for a while. And we obviously didn't have him available. Then we drew 0-0 with Atalanta, a 2-2 draw with Salernitana. And at this point, we started to get injuries and suspensions and African Cup of Nations issues with our defence. So Kellyan van der Kamp played in this game, but against Salernitana, he was out and Giorgini came in because Van der Kamp went away on African Nations duty with Cameroon. Giorgini then picked up a slight injury in that game. We then played again. Oh, and then you've also got Ponzi was brought in as right back because De Pauli was out suspended. Then we played Empoli and won 1-0. This time, if you remember me saying in part 1 that Cesar Torrega was brought in as a defensive midfield option, but would also be like our 5th centre-back. Well, at this point, we had Di Riccio out injured, Van der Kamp on African Cup of Nations duty, and Giorgini out injured as well. So we was having to bring Cesar Torrega in for this game. Then we had Riccio back from injury. We had De Pauli back from his suspension. And that was for a 2-1 defeat against Lazio. Then a 2-1 win against Bologna followed that one. Then we had Hellas Verona with a 3-1 win, followed by a 1-1 draw against Napoli and a 1-0 defeat against Juventus. Thankfully, our defence is back to full strength now. We do have Van der Kamp, but I think Wisdom Amy is injured currently. If I have a look, just have a look at the squad quickly. Yeah, Wisdom Amy is currently out for another day. It was only a small injury that he was out for, but it has kept him out. So as a result of all of these, it has meant in the league, like I say, we are 5th in the league. We're only, 4 points off second? Winning the league, I don't think is going to be a possibility this season. We're 14 points off of AC Milan, who have just been dominant. But yeah, 12 wins, 7 draws, 4 defeats from our 23 games so far. And it's going really well. I've been really pleased with it. If we have a look at the medical centre, I'll show you the injuries that I was talking about. And as you see, season starts in August. It was just under what we had last season. But then September and October, we were above what we had last season. In November, we were under. But then December, with 11 injuries compared to 2 that we had last season. Then January, we've had 10 injuries. February's only just started, so that's not counting yet. But we need this to drop a bit because we have really been struggling. At one point on my tactics screen, the actual bench, Aquino can come in there now, but at one point on the bench, we had about 5 positions empty on the bench. Yes, I could have brought in some under 20s or under 18s. Well, Aguero is also out injured. He returns in 5 days' time, and next match is it's today actually against Napoli. So Aguero would probably be out in for the games against Napoli and Inter Milan. This is the time of season, if we look at our calendar, with Juventus, Napoli's obviously in the Italian Cup, Inter, Fiorentina, Frosinone, Sassuolo, AC Milan. We've got some really tough games. And if you look at the actual schedule itself, our really tough games have been spread pretty much. We've not had a group of them. We've not had like a month where it's been like Inter, AC Milan, Napoli, Fiorentina, whatever, Juventus, whatever. They've been spread out. We'll have a couple here, then we'll have a couple of easier games, then we'll have Sassuolo around here, then an easier game against Torino, then we've got AC Milan, and then a little bit down here we've got Roma. And, and Roma, by the way, they are doing really poorly. If we go back to Serie A, I don't know if they're still... Where's their table gone? We had it a minute ago. Oh, that's right, 17th. They are 2 points outside the relegation zone. I don't see them getting relegated because Brianza, Empoli and Catanzaro are just so poor. But this is a terrible season for them. Lazio as well, not doing great. Same with Juventus. Frosinone are down here where they belong now. Napoli, again, in 8th, not having a great season. Sassuolo have been the real surprise package this season. If we have a look at our player stats, Mehdi Leris is our top goal scorer with 8 goals. Also our highest average rating of 7.16 and our most assists with 5 goals. Unfortunately, can't assist himself. Falcone, our goalkeeper, best pass completion, and so on and so on after that. We've not had a red card yet, thankfully. We are the 4th best for goals scored, which does surprise me because we've kind of gone back to being a bit dodgy in front of goal. We're the 4th best for goals conceded, we're 4th best for yellow cards, and we're the best for having no red cards. But yeah, and one thing I do want to show you as well, if we go to the tactics screen quickly, and Emmanuel Pecorino, who was an absolute beast when he came in at the end of last season, 5 goals in 21 games. He has been a letdown. This is more kind of the return I was expecting from a player that we bought for £160,000. But yeah, compare that to what he'd done last season, pretty similar amount of games. It has been very, very disappointing. If we have a look at the other striker we have as well, Ramon Mires, who's not played as much in terms of starts at least, 1 goal and 1 assist in 19 games. It's a good job we got him on a free transfer, really. He has not been particularly good. If we go through the second half of the season with these two not really firing, then I think we will probably have to look for at least one new striker in the transfer window. If we have a look at goal scoring, just show who our top goal scorers are, you know already that Mehdi Leris with 8 goals and 5 assists tops both of those. De La Vega had 7 goals and 2 assists. Pecorino then with 5 goals, 2 assists. Then we've got Luis Fernando with 3 goals and 1 assist. Topalovic also has 3 goals, as does Ndombele, Ashkilden and Navarro. So we are kind of spreading our goals around, but we're also not scoring a great deal of them, even though we are 4th best. And like I say, we have a look at a schedule. We just seem to be spreading them around. That's all I can really say. It's really unusual because it's always nice when you have a striker that is just banging the goals in constantly. If we then go to the Italian Cup, we are in the quarterfinals of that. We've got Napoli coming up. If we go back to, when was it we came into this competition? 3rd round, was it? Yeah, I think it was the 3rd round we came in. So yeah, we came in the 3rd round, played Bologna, beat them 2-1, and we then got the quarterfinal coming up now. So for clubs like where we've qualified at the 3rd round, the Italian Cup's quite a short competition. You have the 3rd round, the quarterfinal, semi-final, and the final. So that is a nice little competition, really. But yeah, if we look at dynamics, team cohesion is good, club atmosphere is excellent, managerial support is very good. The finances, we have 24.7 million in the transfer budget. We have around 19,000 in the wage budget. If we actually go and have a look at transfers, because I know you do like to see transfers, we've not done any business in terms of players going out in January or players coming in. But what we have done is we've got 2 players already lined up to come in for next season on free transfers. We've got both 21 years old, a ball-winning midfielder from Real Madrid, I think he is. Yeah, from Real Madrid B team. He's an option that for this part of the midfield here. If we look at his rating, he's a 5-star rating, potential rating, and he could be really good. He's already got some pretty decent attributes to him as well. He could be a deep line playmaker in the base of their midfield as well, which is where Yepes currently occupies. And I just think, again, it's about raising that floor. And he definitely, as a free transfer, you'd expect the free transfers to be floor raisers rather than ceiling raisers. So yeah, Mario Martin comes in on a free transfer on the 1st of July. Borja also comes in. He is also at Real Madrid. I didn't realise they're both from Real Madrid B actually. But yeah, he's from Real Madrid B as well. He can play in front of him in that Mazzala role. He can also kind of do a box-to-box midfielder, but he's not. He certainly wouldn't be a first or second choice for that. But he could provide very decent support for Luis Fernando in there. And yeah, I just think it just adds more depth. So we're kind of looking at those 2 transfers to really help out the squad depth side of it, which will in turn hopefully mean that we don't get as many injuries next season. Even though I have tried rotating my team a bit more often this season to avoid getting as many injuries, clearly doesn't seem like it's working. But hopefully I'll have more confidence in my second 11. What I have also done as well, and it's something that I really should have mentioned to you about sooner in the series, sooner in the FM cycle, but I've only really got around to showing you it. Where you've got your option here for quick pick and all that, you have one here that says manage, and you can basically set up a team. So what I've done, for example, is I've set up my best 11. And after setting up my best 11 with the substitutes as well, I've then gone on here and put save team selection, and I titled it best 11. I've then done another one, which is my second 11 with substitutes as well, saved that, and that has then meant that if I want to alternate between the 2 teams, I can just click between these rather than having to drag players over and scrolling up and down and all this sort of stuff. I can literally just go up there, manage, choose which one it is, manage selections, save team selections. There is also one on there for export team from versus competition if you do versus competition. But yeah, like I said, I've never really shown you that before. I just thought it's so worth showing you just in case it's something you want to make use of. But anyway, we're going to play through to the end of the season now. Hopefully we can, if we remain where we are, 5th or 6th, I'll be happy with that. But I've got to admit, with 15 games to go, I am eyeing up qualification to the Champions League. Can we get into the Champions League? Can we get into Europe? Or are injuries going to catch up with us and we're going to drop down a little bit? What a season. And I don't actually know which one to start with. We've won the Italian Cup. I think we'll start with that one. We have finished fourth in Serie A, which means we've qualified for the Champions League. But in terms of the Italian Cup, we've won this for the first time since 1993-94 when we beat Ancona in the final. Who are Ancona? They're in Serie C. So they've had quite a drop from, or fall from grace as well, really, haven't they? I want to have another look at, where are Ancona? So they've got a 7,450 capacity stadium, £13 for a ticket to go and watch one of their games. I don't recognise any of their players here. But yeah, that shows how long ago it was, 1993-94, which was 32 years ago that we last won this competition, beaten finalists against Lazio in 2008-09. But yeah, we've finally got another trophy. We've won this for, what, 5 if you include a current one, 5-time winners. So yeah, we're 5-time winners of the Italian Cup. If we have a look at the records, I mean, Juventus have won it 14 times. So I don't think their record is in any trouble whatsoever. So yeah, winning the Italian Cup. If we have a look at how we've done it, in the third round, we beat Bologna. Where are we? Where are Bologna? Here we go, 2-1 against Bologna. Then in the quarterfinals, we beat Napoli 3-1. Then in the semi-final, it was a 2-legged affair against Hellas Verona. 5-2 win in the first leg, 2-2 draw in the second leg, 7-4 on aggregate. Inter Milan beating AC Milan, by the way. All Milan derby for the other semi-final. And then in the final, we won 3-0. And Mehdi Leris, joint top goal scorer in the competition. Della Vega, joint top for Player of the Match awards. So, yeah, it's lovely to see her name on there, to actually get her first trophy under our belts. Absolutely thrilled about that. So I wasn't even thinking about winning the Italian Cup. It was only when we got to the semi-final, it was against Hellas Verona. And I thought, do you know what? We've actually got a chance at this. Probably should be taking this seriously. Then comes Serie A, 4th place. We were 8th last season on 65 points. We're 4th this season on 71 points. 20 wins, 11 draws, 7 defeats, a goal difference of plus 28. If we have a look at it in its entirety, 64 goals scored and 36 goals conceded. We are still among one of the best defensively. But I do still kind of think we probably need to be trying to score a few more goals. I mean, you look at Inter scoring 83, AC Milan scoring 87. I think we're going to need to be around what AC Milan are doing if we're going to win it. I mean, you look at them, they were 23 points ahead of us in the table with a goal difference superior by 35. So we've got a lot of improving to do if we want to win this within the next 2 seasons. And don't forget, that is the aim. In terms of the teams that have gone down, Brianza, Parma and Catanzaro have gone down. The teams coming up, they're still doing the playoff round. But if we look at the league table, the teams coming up, Salento, Cagliari, and one of these 4 will be coming up with them. So back to Serie A. Napoli, Inter, Sassuolo, Juventus not even getting into Europe. Neither Fiorentina or Roma or Lazio. I mean, if you go forward to 2026, there's some other fallen giants in this league because these teams are going to be very, very disappointed. I was thinking about doing a Juventus rebuild for my next one, but I don't think I'm going to stay in Italy. I think I'll go somewhere else. But back onto this one. If we have bear in mind we're now in the Champions League, we've had a budget set, and I was really looking forward to seeing the budget. I thought, we've got Champions League football, we have a nice bit of money to spend. Yeah, 24 million, 24.7 million. It's basically the same as what we had at the end of the season. They've not given us any extra. I would like that to have been around 40 to 50 million. Wage budget has basically stayed the same as well. So yeah, not great in that respect. In terms of players that will be leaving though, not wage, we want contract expiry. Aquino has been set for release, as has been Tempe, Gaffey, Wisdom will be returning to Manchester City. So we've got some players there that are going to be leaving. Danny Tassendi, I'm not sure. If he was able to do right back and left back, then I probably would keep him. Same reason why I quite like having Fabio Ponzi here, because he's got a little bit about him and he can do the right and the left. but I'm probably going to let Tazendi go, with the view of bringing in a left back that is better than what we already have. If we set this to our best 11, then, I mean, 2 of our best 11 are out injured, but Tommaso Aguayo, don't get me wrong, he's been very good for us. I've loved having him here. His contract does run out at the end of next season. He is 31 years old. He has picked up 5 assists on the non-attacking side of the pitch, but I just feel we could do better on the left-hand side. Fabio De Paoli, I'm in no rush to replace him. He's been very, very good for us this season. Although what I will say is when you look at his assists, that's a bit of a problem. In fact, is the left-hand side our attack? Yeah, so the left-hand side is our attack with Aguero, not De Paoli. So, yeah, I want to get someone more attacking than Aguero on the left-hand side. I think that can be improved upon. We need to find a replacement for Wisdom Amy. We have obviously got the likes of, where have they gone along here, Riccio and Giorgini that could automatically step into that place. But if we do, say, Riccio, for example, as you can see, that's quite the drop-off. So I am looking at someone to replace Wisdom Amy, someone for left-back. I've also got to look for a proper striker as well. I really have just changed that because that's actually although saying that, when you look at star rating, Navarro does get it, but I like Lewis has been a top scorer. How can we not have him in the team? So yeah, that is how we look at the moment. Bear that in mind for next week when you see how we look going into the new season. I think there will be some change. I mean, we've got some additional backup coming in for the squad side of it. But yeah, left back I want to improve on, right back I want to improve on. But we'll keep that for next week's episode. We have got 10 million in the bank. We were slipping down and down and down until eventually we went back up again. In terms of dynamics, team cohesion is very good. Club atmosphere is very good. Managerial support is very good. Ndombele's got the ump with me because he came wanting a new contract. He's been here a year and a half, and half of that time, or well, the first half of the year of the contract he was with us, basically back end of last season, he was out injured for the whole time. So we've had 1 season of football out of him, and he wants a new contract. He can bog off. He's not getting it. He's got a few players who are unhappy, but that'll be sorted for the new season, I'm sure. Vladimiro Falcone still wants to leave. He came to me a while back wanting to go to one of the Saudi Arabian clubs. They put in a bid for him for 11 million. I rejected it. That's when he then came to me. And I said to him the finances weren't right on the deal. He suggested 31 million. So I accepted and said, okay, if anyone offers 31 million, we will sell you. Surprise, surprise, he's not as good as what he thinks he is, but he is a very, very good goalkeeper. And when you look at it with us, very consistent. He's played every league game for us this season. He's conceded 36 goals, 13 clean sheets, same amount of clean sheets as last season as well. I just don't want to lose him if I don't have to, so I won't. Right, what I'll also do is show you the youth intake. And as you can see here, it's not been particularly good. It was a below average one. Usually when we get this come through, I race to sign the best players that come in. Sometimes I might only sign 1, sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 3. I didn't bother with any of these. I just let the director of football sort it out. So this is who's come in. They'll go into our under-20s. He might do something. He might do something. I doubt he will, or any of the others. But that is our youth intake. So there you go. You've seen it. Right. What we will do now is we'll go to the end of season review. First of all, before we do get there, I'm going to have my moan about injuries. An absolutely ludicrous amount of injuries in December and January, as I said to you. And then in February, it was also just ridiculously a high amount. I moaned about it for last season as well, but for this season, I'm going to put a screenshot on screen round about now where we could barely fill the subs bench. We had so many people out injured. There was a couple of suspensions in there as well, but there was just so many players out injured. I got to the stage where I was thinking, I'm literally not going to be able to have any substitutes at this rate if it carries on. But luckily it did get better and we had less injuries in the next 3 months as what we had last season. Right, we'll move over to the schedule. Just quickly talk you through that. So you were with us just before we played Juventus in Serie A. We lost 1-0 to them. Then we beat Napoli 3-1 in the Italian Cup quarter-final. Then we lost to Inter again 1-0. Then we beat Parma 1-0, followed by a 2-2 draw against Fiorentina. Then came the 5-2 win against Hellas Verona and a 2-0 win against Brianza. Frosinone beat us again 2-1. Sassuolo 2-2. Torino we won 2-0. Then a 2-2 draw against AC Milan, which I actually thought was a pretty decent result actually. We then beat Catanzaro 3-1 and Bologna 1-0 before a second leg of our Italian Cup semi-final against Hellas Verona, which we drew 2-2. We then drew with AS Roma away from home. We'd had quite an inconsistent period around here, but we finished really strongly. We finished with a 2-1 win against Genoa, a 2-1 defeat against Atalanta. Then came the Italian Cup final against Inter Milan, where we won 3-0. By the way, we did have Kelly and Van der Kapp sent off in the 63rd minute of the game. Gave me a bit of nerves going into the last half an hour, I have to admit, but we were the better team. We did hold on. Salernitana then we beat 4-2, followed by a 1-0 win against Empoli on the final day of the season. So there you have it. There's a schedule. There's how we've done so far. Let's now move over to the end of season review. Okay, end of season review for UC Sampdoria. And there's a gorgeous little golden Italian Cup trophy sitting there. That is going to come to bed with me tonight. We're going to lay in bed together and I'm just going to lay there with it on my chest, just stroking its hair. Oh, I love that trophy. I really do. I'll love Serie A even better. Don't know where I was going with that, by the way. Sorry. Right, in terms of new signings, back to business. Pedro de la Vega, £10.5 million. The board are quite happy with him, presumably because it's the player's high ability level relative to the squad. Okay, they've not mentioned money. Quite happy with that. 34 appearances, 13 goals, 4 assists at 7.01. I've got to be honest, I was probably a little disappointed with him last season. Maybe he'll be better next season, who knows. Luka Tobilovic, I really liked him actually. He came in on a free transfer, 35 appearances, 6 goals, 6 assists at 6.98. Alessandro Ricci came in from Juventus, 16 appearances, no goals and assists at 6.96. He done really well when he was called on. Cesar Torrega, the only other player we spent money on, then not overly pleased about it, but they're giving it a C. 6 appearances, 1 goal, no assist, 6.95. Again, he done what I wanted him to do, really. Robert Navarro has been given the star signing for 32 appearances, 6 goals, 4 assists at 6.92. I personally would have given it to Topilovic, the star signing, but it's been given to Navarro. Okay. Ramon Mires didn't really make the impression that we wanted. 37 appearances, 7 goals, 1 assist at 6.91. And Luis Fernando, no complaints about him. He had a decent first season with us. 36 appearances, 4 goals, 4 assists at 6.82. We probably would say with Fernando and Topilovic, we would like our midfielder scoring a little bit more. In terms of transfers out, won't go through every one of them. There's only a few that we've actually got money for. Ronaldo Vieira for 4.6 million went to Udinese. He's had a really decent season, 11 assists, 5 goals. Yeah, he's had a decent season. Gabbiadini has gone to Udinese as well for 1.5 million. He's played 40 appearances, 8 goals, 2 assists, not great. And Reda Kadra has gone to Real San Sebastian for 6 million. He's started 10 times, come off the subs bench 27 times, 3 goals, no assists. I think he was better off with us, to be quite honest. But it is what it is. In terms of the ones that have done really well, I mean, here we go. This guy here, Ertijon Gago, who we had obviously with us before we let him go on a free transfer. He's gone to FK Partizani and 44 appearances, 2 goals, 5 assists at 7.16. As a centre-back, that is a very decent return. He's found his level and I'm really pleased for him because he was quite decent for us, just wasn't really to the standard we required. If we then go on to the season's results, so in Serie A, finished 4th, 94% home attendance. Pecorino was their top scorer with 11 goals in the league, finished 4th, 71 points, but we've got a 23-point gap we've got to make up on over AC Milan in the next 2 seasons. The Italian Cup, obviously we've won the Italian Cup. Mehdi Leris was their top goal scorer in that. They're the teams we've beaten again. In the moments to remember, the biggest win was a 4-0 win against Napoli. Pecorino, Fernando, Tesende and Ndombele getting the goals. Match to remember was a 3-0 win against Lazio in Serie A. That was back in the beginning of the season in August. goal of the season was from Fernando. I did say that I was hoping it was going to be Topalovic that was going to be that with his 16 finishing. We never actually got that type of a goal from him. But Luis Fernando running from inside the Brianza half, the striker, skins an opponent, sorry, not strikes an opponent, didn't give him a clout round the head, skins an opponent before scoring a fierce shot. Very well done. In terms of the finances, our reputation is 3.5-star national at the moment. That will go up to continental now we're back in Europe. Sponsorship has slightly gone down, not really sure why, but it has. Broadcast revenue has slightly gone up. Corporate and hospitality has slightly gone up. Competition prize money has gone up massively from 4.8 million to 15.7, and that's going to go up even more with Champions League money as well. Same with broadcast revenue, and all of this should have a massive boost because of the Champions League next season, and I'm looking forward to seeing what our transfer budget is going to be going into our final season. Matchday commercial and retail has gone down, but again, I think that will go up next season. In terms of shirt sales, Leris, Ndombele, Topalovic, Mires and Askilden are the top shirt sales. In terms of best 11, Falcone in goal, Aguero left back, De Pauli right back, Van der Kap and Amy in the centre of defence. I agree with the back five. Yepes, Askilden, Topalovic. I don't agree with that. I'd have Fernando in there. De La Vega and Leris out wide with Mires up front. I'd probably have Pecorino up front instead of Meris. But there you go. That's what they think it is. Record breakers. The only record we've broken is that Fabio De Pauli has become the person with the worst discipline, 11 yellow cards. I think he set it last season as well, to be honest. But anyway. In terms of the player awards, Mehdi Leris is the fans' player of the season. Wisdom Amy is the young player of the season. But, you know, the 20-year-old wonder kid is no longer going to be with us. Sign of the season was Robert Navarro. Yeah, like I say, I would have given it to Topalovic, but fair enough. Goal of the season, Luis Fernando. Top goal scorer was Pedro de la Vega with 13 goals. We need to improve that. Most assists was Mehdi Leris with 8 assists. That needs to improve as well. Most player of the match awards was Gerard Lepez with 4. We don't tend to pick up many player of the match awards, I have to say. Highest average rating was Mehdi Leris 7.1, and most passes completed per 90 minutes, Wisdom Amy with 81. We are going to miss him next season. We really are. We've got to sign well in the summer. History in the making. 3-1 win against Napoli is, for some reason, displayed here. We've got our Italian Cup. Sampdoria flew out of the traps and set themselves up well for the season. And that's from Francesco Morelli of the Italian Football Review. Manager timeline is what the manager timeline is. That's confirmation of the top scholars that we're bringing through. So these are the ones we've actually signed. Let's have a quick look through here. Our overall best 11, at least I've adopted our formation, have a 4-3-3. And that is looking there, Askilden. Okay, I can go with that for now. Barini, not sure. But yeah, that's looking a bit like one of our teams now, isn't it? Season review, we've done that. Support profile update. The fair weather has gone up to 13%. Family court and hard court have all gone down. Still no corporate. I don't know why they don't want corporate in a stadium. Supporters' influence on the board is high. Social media, we've gained an extra 260.7 thousand social media followers, and there's now 27,507 supporters on the waiting list. Then we will have a look at the club vision expectations. They want us to reach the UEFA Champions League proper. We're going to. I don't think we're in the qualifiers. Finish mid-table in Serie A, and then record a top half finish. Blah 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 blah. We will accept that. Squad dynamics is looking decent. End of season team meeting. Oh, what did they want? I forgot what they wanted. They wanted a top half finish, I think, didn't they? Let's talk about Serie A aims for the season. Did they say mid-table or top half? Let's go top half. There you go. They're quite happy with that. Right, that's all for now. Let's leave you happy. Always leave them with a smile on their face, folks. That's what I say anyway. And training camp destination. They never really give us anywhere decent to go. I mean, we can't go to Austria again. We keep going to Austria. I mean, I don't really know where any of these places are, so I just think we say Lombardia. We're going to Lombardia. We're staying in Italy, basically. It'd be nice if we go to Tenerife or, America or somewhere like that. But no, we only get the option to ever go to either Italy or Austria. Right, well, that is going to be it for now, folks. I will join you next Sunday, 2 p.m, for Season 4 of Rebuilding Sampdoria. how are we going to do in the Champions League? Can we get closer to winning Serie A? Or can we even win Serie A? There's only one way to find out, and that's to tune in next week. Thank you very much for watching, folks.